With Clarice Tinsley, Steve Bosch, James Spann in the Channel 4 weather station, and Paul Crane on sports.
Good evening. Our top story tonight, day 2 of the Challenger tragedy.
Yesterday, the shock. Today, the grief and mourning. This continuing story spans our nation, from Boston to Austin, from Spokane to Brownsville. Flags at half-staff, prayer, and tribute to space heroes. Tonight, we'll report from Concord, New Hampshire, the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, and the Johnson Space Center in Houston, where Clarice Tinsley is standing by live. Clarice?
Thank you, Steve. The Johnson Space Center is really in Clear Lake, Texas. It's a very small, very close-knit community. Residents here yesterday lost family, friends, and co-workers. And tonight in Clear Lake, there is a lot of pain, there is a lot of grief here. Tonight, residents of Clear Lake and Houston came to St. Bernadette's Catholic Church to find comfort and to find a way to try to learn how to cope with the Shuttle tragedy. They came here to try to learn how to heal their hearts, badly torn by the Shuttle explosion. A slide presentation set to religious music began the service. One of the images on the screen, a space shuttle blasting off. This service was a memorial to the 7 shuttle crew members. Father Tom Butler also designed this service to help these friends and co-workers of the astronauts. The priest told those gathered not to keep their grief bottled up inside, but to let it out. The priest said that grief is also a way of expressing love for their departed friends.
I know that we will walk through this hour to live, and to love, and to fly again. We will. I know we will. And the thing that's going to enable us to do it is our faith in God, and that alone. So I'm going to ask each and every one of you to reach down deep inside your own heart and find that faith and hold on to it and never let it go.
That was a very moving ceremony tonight. More than 1,000 people showed up. Rockwell International, the nation's second largest defense contractor, is setting up shop in Houston. Riding high on past shuttle successes, building all 5 orbiters, Rockwell is now facing tough times and tough questions. Should a new shuttle be built? Ken Capps examines the future of the shuttle fleet minus 1 member.
If there is a single company literally building its future around the shuttle, it is Rockwell. It landed a $680 million contract from NASA. It is taking over what 16 companies did before, and it has built all 5 shuttles. But now it is a rising star with a cloudy future.
It may mean that some of that growth will not take place.
Dallas native Bob Miner is the shuttle manager for Rockwell. He will eventually have 3,500 employees in Houston, with duties ranging from running mission control to training the shuttle crew. But the loss of the billion-dollar Challenger, the workhorse of the program, and a quarter of the fleet is a loss that could cost jobs.
It's going to mean that the program is going to have to more cleverly manifest the flights that they're going to be doing in the near future.
Manifesting a flight means deciding what and how much payload is taken to space. The shuttle plan called for 4 ships, maybe 5. Miner says NASA has shuttle modules and parts in storage, and a new craft could be built.
We're inside a shuttle trainer. It took months to build it. It took the shuttle program 15 years to get 4 working spacecraft online. And even if Congress approved it and Rockwell could build it, getting the fleet back up to 4 would not be easy.
Oh, but it takes time. It's not like going and say, hey, I'm going to go buy another Volkswagen next week, you know.
Original Mercury astronaut and shuttle advisor Deke Slayton says a new shuttle should not be a priority, that expendable rockets could take up the slack. Rockwell will be inspecting the newest craft, Atlantis, with the other orbiters, helping NASA decide what went wrong. What's next? Ken Capps, Channel 4 News at the Johnson Space Center.
Since the explosion of Challenger, NASA has virtually halted the launch schedule. President Reagan, however, insists the shuttle program will continue. But many people in Central Florida remember what the last accident did to the economy of that area. Tonight, Steve Dawson has more from the Kennedy Space Center.
The communities around the Space Center are thriving now. There is prosperity. But less than 20 years ago, after the Apollo 1 caught fire on the launch pad, there were hard times here. Men with PhDs pumped gas to keep their families together. There are people here like Sue Miller who remember people out of work for 2 years. That's what she and her neighbors fear might happen after this accident.
They're worried that it's going to happen again, and what the Army went through in 1967 when they had the fire, at the launch pad. We're worried that it'll happen again. I mean, hopefully the space program will go on and the economy will be able to boom, but it's a worry for everyone here.
Walter Combs came here in 1971.
When I first came here, there was no work done. The Cape was shut down. Basically shut down. And I looked in the papers there for one. There was only like 5 jobs in the morning. There, homes for sale. You could pick up homes for a song.
April Terzieff has served lunch to NASA astronauts. She feels the personal loss, but fears what would happen if the Challenger crash kills the economy.
I just brought her home. It'll kill me. I work for tips, keep the stuff eaten out. I lose my home. It's scary.
There's a lot of uncertainty surrounding the shuttle program right now. For example, will companies continue to buy space on the shuttle? Or will they spend their dollars on the European consortium that sends unmanned craft into space? And if they do, how will that affect the shuttle program? More questions than answers. Steve Dawson, Channel 4 News at the Kennedy Space Center.
Another chapter in the ongoing shuttle disaster is unfolding in Concord, New Hampshire, home of the late teacher astronaut Krista McAuliffe. Richard Ray is there with this late report.
I want to pray for the families that are having a hard time right now.
The people of Concord are finding solace in church. In special services for Krista McAuliffe, the hometown school teacher who perished in Tuesday's shuttle explosion. This morning, a local Catholic parish held this Mass especially for children. Concord grocer Barry Dixon has posted a sign outside his store, urging customers and passers-by to attend church and to pray for the crew of the Challenger.
It's not just the girl here in Concord. We're talking about 6 other lives. We're talking about a massive heartache.
Classes were canceled today at Concord High School, where McAuliffe taught before being chosen for the space program. School officials offered counseling for students, but Michael Garrett says faculty members, those who knew Krista best, may feel the grief of her loss even more intensely.
I marvel, for example, that somebody from Concord, New Hampshire could be selected as one of 11,000 people to do what Krista McAuliffe did, on the one hand. And on the other hand, however, I can't conceive of a person who better personified the kind of heroine that she became than Krista McAuliffe. And she had the kind of quality which I think was irrepressible. And obviously NASA noticed that as well.
Concord and all of New England is steeped in history. Now this city mourns for a 37-year-old social studies teacher who was fond of telling her students that history is made by ordinary people. People who have a dream and are willing to take a chance. Richard Ray, Channel 4 News, Concord, New Hampshire.
Security is beginning to tighten up here at the Johnson Space Center. All day long, photographer Don Chappell and I have been going in and out of the main gate, and each time we did, only Don had to show his security clearance. Don and I came back into the main gate about an hour and a half ago, and that time I had to show my security clearance in addition to Don. So things are beginning to tighten up here following the announcement earlier today that President Reagan and his wife will be at the Johnson Space Center Friday to lead the nation in the official memorial service. Steve, that's the story here now. Back to you.
Clarice, thank you. In Dallas tonight, the congregation of the Park Cities Baptist Church gathered for prayer and to memorialize the crew of the space shuttle. 7 candles were lit, and each of the Challenger crew members was singled out for their courage and achievement. It was one of many gatherings tonight throughout the Metroplex and the nation. The Park Cities Baptist Church is pastored by the Reverend Dr. James Pleiss.
There is perhaps little we can do as individuals to repair the emotional loss the astronauts' children are surely suffering. But there is an effort to help financially. A Washington lawyer has set up a trust fund to receive contributions. Checks should be made out to the Space Shuttle Children Fund and mailed to American Security Bank, Box 0150, Washington, D.C. 20055. It is a tax-deductible contribution.
If you feel it's important to cry, then cry. If it's important to hug someone, then hug someone.
And that's probably the most that we can do for one another right now.
For years and years, Saxford Avenue has been breaking records. Our final clearance is on now.
At Safeway, we know how hard you're working for your money. And now we're working extra hard to make it go even farther. Safeway's National Brand Sale. We're stocking up on lots of your favorite brands, cutting prices way back so you can get great deals on our honest deals at Safeway's National Brand Sale.
Yeah, working honest, and I want an honest deal.
Safeway, America's favorite food store.
The new 5000 series from Audi. The 5000 Turbo Quattro, Turbo, Sedan, Wagon. 5,000 reasons to own an Audi. Make that 5,001. Now available with anti-lock braking systems.
Now extended through January 31st, you can lease this 1986 Audi 5000S for $305 a month.
Hundreds of Dallas high school students have been stripped of their athletic uniforms and sent to the bleachers. This is the end of the third grading period of this school year, and the Dallas Independent School District has released the latest no-pass, no-play statistics. The results are particularly grim at W.W. Samuel High School on the east side of Dallas. Stephanie Lucero has a report.
W.W. Samuel High School has lost more than 100 of its athletes for the next 6 weeks. Just about every school sport has been affected. The varsity basketball squad has been cut in half. 12 members of the team are supposed to be studying, trying to bring their grades up above the mandatory minimum of 70. 3 of those 12 are not doing any studying. They quit school altogether after they were told they couldn't play.
I think it's probably the worst thrill that's ever been passed for high school athletics.
Coach Doug Scott says everyone on the team is a borderline case, squeaking by with grades just above 70. This is Alfie Kirk's first year on the varsity squad, and he has just been allowed back on the court. When report cards came out 6 weeks ago, he flunked typing.
I was going to the games and saw my teammates playing. That made me try harder.
Frankie Cipriano scored the winning kick for Samuel High School tonight. He was sidelined 6 weeks ago when he flunked algebra. Tonight, Frankie helped his soccer team score in overtime. He's on the field because he was able to improve his grades.
I think it's fair, but they've been putting a lot of pressure on me.
Me and my wife, we'll strict on that because I only have a third grade education, and I know what one can go through not having the education that you need nowadays.
While Samuel High School may have lost plenty of its athletes for the next 6 weeks, backers of no pass, no play believe that eventually the new rules will be tolerated. The next test of that will be in another 6 weeks. Stephanie Lucero, Channel 4 News, Dallas.
The crime rate is soaring, our prisons are overflowing, and efforts to rehabilitate criminals have been all but abandoned. But in Dallas, there is a glimmer of hope over a pilot program involving inmates and their families.
Each week, 2 men from a group called Open come to the Dallas County Jail with a computer printout, a list of men headed for prison.
The objective of this program is to help you to prepare your parole plan.
But participation for the inmate also hinges on a willing family. What Open founder Ned Rollo calls the single most important factor in transforming an ex-con into a law-abiding citizen.
Now, in the event that they say that they will do it, then they are going to have to obligate themselves to time, to some training, and to coming in and actually, being part of this whole thing.
Arzataya was among the first to volunteer for the state-approved pilot program. This is his second prison term for drunk driving. He hopes to be paroled in May. And by then, we'll have completed a correspondence course, one designed to change attitudes and help him develop a game plan for success on the outside.
I can't do it no more. I tried to do it no more too many times. I've been locked up many times.
Before, in times past, when he got out, he just got out, and that was it. He didn't have no goals set. He didn't have his priorities set. He didn't have any help.
Open Incorporated has been working with inmates and their families for 6 years. Its stated goal to improve public safety by reducing repeat crime.
6 out of every 10 crimes committed in Dallas
is by repeat offenders. So if we can reduce the probability that someone will go back a second and third and fourth time, then I think that in that sense, it will be a smashing success.
Ned Rollo, an ex-convict himself, has won over an impressive list of supporters. Open's major contributors read like a who's who of Dallas. Rollo's pitch is simple. A stable family, a personal support system is the inmate's best hope, the community's most important rehabilitative tool.
We can never build enough prisons. We can never hire enough guards. So we're saying, let's use that one tool that exists in our culture, that is affordable, that is accessible, and that has the motivation. The family, the personal support system is where this business must go over the next 10 to 15 to 20 years throughout the United States.
Corrections professionals remain skeptical that this rehabilitation program will work where so many others have failed. But Open has a 2-year agreement with the State Prison Board, and if it can produce results in Dallas, there's every reason to expect that it will be expanded statewide. Richard Ray, Channel 4 News.
Another day without rain inches us closer to a 52-year-old record. Think we're going to make it, James?
I don't know. We're going to be very close, Suzanne, but possibly late this weekend we might have some rain to break that dry spell, and we'll talk about those possibilities up next.
Mercury's got the shape you want to be in with Mercury Cougar. And right now, you can lease one for a price that's shaped to fit your budget. Only $249.08 per month with a red carpet lease for qualified lessees through Ford Credit. And that includes use tax. Surprisingly, your monthly payments may actually be lower than if you finance. Get into the shape you want to be in and lease a Mercury Cougar for only $249.08 per month. See your Lincoln Mercury dealer for his price and term. In Dallas, see Eagle, Bankston, Regency, Grubbs.
At Brookshire's, we think you should have your cake and eat it, too, when you shop with us. You get the best service, the best prices, and we sweeten the deal with savings every day of 10% or more on hundreds of your favorite brands. They're limited-time discounts, but when one stops, another begins. The savings never end. So look for Brookshire's red and yellow tags and save 10% or more. It's just the icing on the cake at Brookshire's, the more for your money grocery store.
Hello? Dad, what's up? My grades? Sounds like a bad connection.
What if you could lower your monthly phone bills?
No, Dad, I'd really love to talk to you.
Without lowering the sound quality of your phone calls?
Dad, you probably can't hear me.
When you've got Sprint.
You can.
You can. You've got the future on the line.
Jerry was doing his math. Ann was straightening out our budget. I was struggling with the taxes. Things were out of control. And then, there it was. What's an office calculator doing here?
It's from Texas Instruments. It's portable.
And fast.
Two-color printing.
Texas Instruments introduces 2 new office-style calculators, priced for the home.
Can we keep it?
Today was the 49th consecutive day without measurable rain in Dallas-Fort Worth. The all-time record is 59, and we will be close to a record. Here's a look at the satellite view, but there is a good-looking storm in the Pacific Ocean just now approaching the Pacific coast, and it is that storm that could very well break the dry streak on Sunday. And if that happens, then we will not break the record. And you can see a cloud shield all the way up and down the Atlantic coast with that storm. A lot of moisture, a lot of energy, and possibly it will make it all the way across the Rockies back into Texas. That big upper ridge that's been blocking the storms out west is showing signs of breaking down tonight. Meanwhile, skies are still clear across Texas this evening. Should see plenty of sunshine coming up on Thursday. With a good warming trend, we'll see south winds once again by afternoon, and we're thinking that afternoon highs on Thursday will be around 70 degrees. Right now, behind this weak front that came through this morning, temperatures mostly in the 40s and 50s across north-central Texas. 48 degrees now at Waco, 45 back at Abilene, 55 degrees at Tyler with warmer 60s down to the south of that front, including 62 at Houston. We have 45 degrees at 10 o'clock. The humidity is 51%. The barometer is 30.26 rising. Winds northerly now at 10 miles an hour. Today's high was 64. This morning's low was 40. No rain since midnight last night, and pollen was somewhat higher today with a pretty significant amount of mountain cedar, along with a small amount of fungus and grass and weeds. Around the nation on Thursday, mostly sunshine for the eastern two-thirds of the country, but nasty weather back in the west, rain likely as far south as Southern California, and that front moving our way, probably arriving in the Metroplex sometime this weekend. Here's the forecast for tonight, mostly fair and cool with an overnight low near 38 degrees. Thursday should be a beautiful winter day with sunshine and warm conditions. South winds and an afternoon high near 70. Channel 4's 5-day forecast, even warmer as we head toward the weekend. In fact, Saturday afternoon near 80, if you can believe that, but a chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms on Sunday and Monday, with temperatures by Monday cooling back off into the 60s during the day with 50s at night. One word of caution, Suzanne, the forest fire danger is very high with the dry spell, so anybody doing any outdoor burning should be very, very careful.
Good to remember. Thank you, James.
President Reagan has nominated an old California friend to become Secretary of Agriculture, thus succeeding John Block, who resigned 3 weeks ago after 5 years in office. 67-year-old Richard E. Ling is a California businessman who headed the state agriculture department while Reagan was governor. Ling declines any interviews until his confirmation, which is expected to be routine. American agriculture is in an economic depression, and little change is expected in the near future.
The nude body of a Dallas man who may have been skinny dipping was pulled from a lake at the Lincoln Hotel in Dallas this morning. Hotel employees found the man's clothing piled up on the banks of the man-made lake. 8 hours later, divers pulled the body of 26-year-old Mark Francis Contwitz from the water. Police say there were no signs of foul play. The Dallas medical examiner is now trying to determine the exact cause of death.
We were looking for a good effort from the Mavs tonight.
Well, we got a good effort from the team, but what we will remember most about this night could well be Mark Aguirre's unhappiness in Dallas. We will hear from him and talk about that next, as well as talk about the Quaker State Open. See some action from this year and that crazy finish from a year ago. Next.
I am British Caledonian Airways. I am Paris and the Eiffel Tower. I am Amsterdam, her canal. I am Geneva, the Swiss Alps. I am Frankfurt and the castles along the Rhine. I am the best of Great Britain. I am British Caledonian Airways.
More fun than anybody. Just choose your deal. 7.5 financing or $500 cash back on dependable Dodge Omnis. 7.9 on selected Ram Tough pickups. 8.6 or $1,000 cash back on Lancer ES. 8.6 or $500 cash back on 15 other Dodge models. 8.6 cash back, 7.9 or 7.5. It's the more ways to save sale. Just choose your deal while they last.
Don't delay. See your Dallas-Fort Worth Dodge and Dodge truck dealer today.
Right now, there's something remarkable going on at Kroger. It's called the Kroger Extravaganza, and it means incredible savings on many of your favorite brands. Just look what's popping up this week.
Go Krogering this week for Cycle Dog Food. 3 cans, just $1. Save on Fab with fabric softener that breaks the static barrier. Only $1.89. And Coronet paper towels are cost-cutter priced. Only 59 cents a roll.
Great savings you just won't want to miss. That's the Kroger Extravaganza.
Next on All in the Family.
Remember when Dean Winslow gave me the highest recommendation in Minnesota?
Well, yeah, but that was months ago. You mean it came through? Minnesota?
Yeah, Ma. As soon as we hear from Dean Winslow, we're going to pack up all our furniture, hop on a plane, and off we go.
To Minnesota?
Yeah.
Ain't that the place where Mary Tyler Moore keeps cruising out?
All in the Family. Wednesday night at 10:30, only on Channel 4.
The Mavericks get some good news to start the day. One Maverick, anyway. Rolando Blackman has been named to reserve for the Western Conference All-Stars for the big game to be played in Dallas a week from Sunday. Blackman goes for the second straight year, and for the second straight year, he goes alone. All Blackman does tonight against San Antonio is lead the team in scoring in a game they dominate from start to finish. 25 for Rowe, 20 more from Mark Aguirre, who has some all-star moves of his own. And on a night the Mavericks set a club record with 37 straight Free throws, the headlines could well surround Aguirre, who will watch the All-Star game with the rest of us. Less than happy about being a Maverick. The final tonight, Dallas 126, San Antonio 114.
I'm not really concerned about where I play right now. I mean, it's ugly to feel, don't have the concern. Whichever team I play for, I'm going to try to play my best and contribute. But right now, I know Dick Motta probably has no feelings for me, and I have no feelings for him.
And we will have more on that tomorrow. In the NBA tonight, Detroit has beaten Atlanta. Indiana knocks off Washington. 2 other games are still early to our west. In college hoops, TCU at home tonight for a red-hot Houston team, which comes in having won 4 in a row, 3 since head coach Guy Lewis announced he'll retire at season's end. And the Cougars looking good again early. This is Alvin Franklin making the steal. He leads all scorers with 18 points tonight. But Killer's Frogs have one balanced attack. 6 players score, 5 in double figures. Carvin Holcomb leading the way with 11. Carl Lott is among those getting 10 as the Frogs remain unbeaten at home with 11 straight wins. The final from Daniel Meyer, as you see, TCU 53, Houston 49. Down in Houston, SMU again looking to Kevin Lewis, who again comes through in a big way. 25 for the man they call Ice. Butch Moore scores 15 and enough rice thrown around in this one that should have had a wedding. Final, SMU 68, Rice 52. 2 other games in the Southwest Conference tonight. Nolan Richardson's problems continue at Arkansas as A&M knocks off the Razorbacks. Texas beats Texas Tech. John Brownlee scoring 19. As expected, the new head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles is the mastermind of the Chicago Bears' 46 defense, Buddy Ryan. He gets a 5-year contract and immediate pressure to win. This is the first day and night of the Quaker State Open at the Forum Lanes in Grand Prairie. The leader thus far is Purvis Granger, averaging 226 per game. We're watching defending champion Mike Durbin, who's struggling somewhere outside the top 50. Last year's runner-up Mike Edwards, even farther away than that.
The sentimental favorite at this year's Quaker State Open is Mike Edwards. In last year's tournament, he was well on his way to winning his first tour title ever. But in the last frame of the last game, Mike became last year's runner-up instead of the winner.
I bowled real good all week, and on the television finals, I had a little trouble. I happened to leave a pocket 4-9 split to lose, but it's just the break.
All you had to do was spare in that final frame,
yes,
you would have won.
All I had just the mark of any kind of spare or strike, and 4-9's probably one of the, just one of the worst pocket splits you could ever lose.
Yeah, I was the most shocked person in the building, aside from Mike, I'm sure. I never expected him to leave a split. I knew the ball was a little left of his target, but it looked like maybe a 4-pin at the worst, and then suddenly he's facing that split, and he had to make it to win the tournament, and he didn't.
It was bad for about 5 months. A couple of times, matter of fact, I'd woke up in just a cold sweat. I could just see it. And it's just, but I listened to some positive tapes over my break between the winter and the summer tour, and I gradually got over it. Right now I'm totally over. Whenever I do leave it, I just kind of laugh at it.
As soon as we had finished this interview, Mike Edwards threw another 4-9 split. He laughed, maybe this year, all the way to the bank. Kevin McCarthy, Channel 4 Sports.
But the way he's going so far tonight, he's got a long way to get to the bank this week.
Chances of Aguirre leaving?
Hard to tell. He's unhappy. He and Dick Motta have had many run-ins. I would think they're slim at best because we've seen a lot of this before. However, you never can tell. Everybody runs out of patience sometimes. We'll have more tomorrow.
Okay. Thanks, Paul. Next, in Jack Brown's Texas, a gigantic price tag for a miniature goddess.
Some critics say it's too much for too little. Stay with us.
Treat your family like royalty with Best Made, the crowning touch of taste.
Any real estate company can find you a house, but not everyone can find you a house and the money to finance it. Any company can tell you your home's in perfect condition. One offers you the buyer protection plan. Any company can try to sell your house. One has the seller security plan that assures if they don't sell it, they'll buy it. That one is ERA. There is a difference in real estate companies. For more information, contact the ERA office nearest you.
Some companies rent you a car, and that's it. But Hertz is with you all the way, with customer service representatives to speed you on your way. Computerized driving directions to help you find your way, and 24-hour road service in case you get stuck on the way. So you have a choice for your money. You can rent from a company that just gives you a car,
Plan a favorite family meal around USDA Choice heavy beef boneless chuck roast, priced at just $1.08 a pound. You'll save 2 on fine ripe tomatoes, while they're a low 39 cents a pound. And a 32-ounce jar of Kraft Miracle Whip salad dressing, regular or light, is $1.39.
The master mold has been set for miniature replicas of the Goddess of Liberty, a statue recently removed from the state capitol in Austin. Channel 4's Jack Brown reports those miniatures have created a full-size controversy.
The goddess is being restored at the American Art Foundry in Rome, north of Fort Worth. But it has not yet been decided who will make the full-size replica, which will replace the statue atop the Capitol dome. What has been decided is who will do the miniatures. Barbara Walker, a one-time dentist, full-time sculptor, owner of the American Art Foundry, and a close friend of House Speaker Gib Lewis. Walker has come under criticism from other foundry owners who claim they could have done the job for half or even one-third of Walker's price. He's agreed to cast 1,000 of the miniatures for $1,836 each. Of that, $642 will go to the Capitol for restoration. But critics claim Walker and his partners still will clear about $500,000. The artist does not agree, but he sees nothing wrong with making a profit.
We're taking all the risk, and there is a tremendous risk. It's quite an expensive venture. We have no idea what that cost is going to be. I don't anticipate that we'll make $500,000.
Walker is using a process called the lost wax technique, which is more than 6,000 years old, and he believes the bronze miniatures will be something all Texans can be proud of. But his critics say for that price, the miniatures should be gold. Jack Brown, Channel 4 News, Rome.